Hi, this is Tom in Royal Gorge, Colorado. I'm not in Holly Springs, so I'm not weighing myself, but I will next week after 3 weeks away. Until then, take a look at this little tutorial on why the last 10 pounds are hard to lose. Last time I did a spreadsheet presentation, it was on your metabolic rate and how it's important to know what it's actually being measured as versus a calculator. The differences can make a huge difference if you make all of your caloric needs based on your calculator, if your actual is way different. I want to expand on this just a little bit with this spreadsheet right here. So this is what I did. I went to this web page where there's a calculator that calculates what the average person's resting metabolic rate is and your caloric needs, and just to see what it said. So for a 6'0", 200-pound male with a low active lifestyle, it says you're going to need 2,870 calories per day to maintain that 200 pounds. And I put that number right here. Maintain weight, 2,807. Then I went back to figure out what your resting metabolism is. 6'0", 200 pounds male, 58. And got 1832 calories burned just by doing nothing. And I stuck that in here. And since this is the calories burned basically lying in bed and just living, and this is the calories burned during a day for lying in bed and everything else, I just simply subtracted the two to find out how many calories it was assuming you were burning by being low active during a day. Whether these numbers are right or wrong, it doesn't really matter for the exercise that I'm going to be doing, but it will help illustrate a point. And what point am I trying to illustrate? The point I want to illustrate is this. How do you lose your last 10 pounds? There's a whole bunch of websites about why are the last 10 pounds hardest to lose. And I'm going to pick on this one only because it was the first one that came up in my search. But just about everyone that I look at has a statement similar to this. All of us have a built-in mechanism that protects against starvation. When caloric intake falls below caloric expenditure, a series of metabolic and physiological responses kick in to preserve and replenish energy stores. I see this over and over and over again. And I never really see any notations of why people say this is true. Were there any studies done? How much does your metabolic rate fall? And I just don't see anything. It's just like people are saying this, and since everybody's saying it, everybody believes it, and maybe it's true, but I don't see any proof of it anywhere. So let's see why I have some problems about this. So it says when caloric intake falls below caloric expenditure. Well, guess what? That happens whether you're losing weight, whether you're 200 pounds overweight or only 10 pounds overweight. So I don't think that's true. And then, how does your body know that you're within 10 pounds of your goal? My goal is 163 pounds, but what if it had been 150 pounds? How does my body know to go into this starvation mode to protect itself? Nobody ever explains that. Then it also goes in to talk about motivation. It says, after all, motivation is the highest at the outset. When the first dropped pounds are mainly water, says Judith S. Beck, PhD. So I got to stop right there. Why are the first pounds that you normally lose water? I think maybe some diets might do that, but other ones it shouldn't be. I just don't understand that at all. And then basically it says, but once your weight loss slows down, impatience can creep in. Now that I don't have any problems with. Everybody gets close to where they're supposed to be, and then things start to slow down. And the reason they say things start to slow down is because your body goes into self-preservation mode. And I just wanted to show you that someone needs to show me proof that that happens. And I'm going to show you proof of what I think happens. So let's go back to this spreadsheet. So what I did is what I showed you, I did at 200 pounds, 190, 180, 170, and 160. The web page gave me these numbers here and these numbers here, and then I subtracted them. And what we see, whether it's the resting metabolic rate or the active calories, as you go from heavier to lighter, they get less and less and less. From 1832 at 200 to 1583 at 160. And your active calories also go down as you get lighter from being heavier. Now the reason this is, and the reason the calculator says this is going to happen, is not because of starvation mode. This is just simply physics. It takes more energy to push around a 200-pound object than it does 160-pound object. So when I go for a walk that's 4 miles long, pushing something that weighs 200 pounds for 4 miles versus pushing something that only weighs 160 pounds for 4 miles is going to take less work for this than it is for this. And that's true whether you're a human being or a machine. This is just simple physics. As you push more weight around, it requires more energy. So let's take a look at what this means. What I did is I filled on all of this and then just said, let's assume that you're going to burn 2,400 calories every day when you weigh 200 pounds with the hopes of getting down to close to this 2487. You want to weigh 160, you do the calculations, you can say if I eat 2,487 calories during the day, I should eventually weigh 160. And you start this when you weigh 200, but you just keep on eating the same number of calories no matter what you weigh. The net result is that since you needed more calories at 200 pounds than you did at 160, your calorie deficit changed from 2,849 calories in a week to only 609 calories during a week when you weigh 160. It takes 3,500 calories of deficit to lose about a pound of weight. So over a week, if you had a deficit of 2,849 calories, that works out to about 0.8 pounds. And at 0.8 pounds, how long would it take you to lose 10 pounds? About 12.3. And I did this for every increment of 10. And as you can see, the calorie deficit gets less and less and less as your body needs less and less calories to move around. And as your calorie deficit gets less and less, you're going to lose less pounds per week. And then finally I have this category, which is how many weeks would it take to lose 10 pounds if you're losing this number per week. I'll be the first to admit this math is not exactly correct. I'm assuming you're losing 0.81 pounds all the way from 200 down to 190 per week, which is not true because as soon as you go from 200 to 199, you need less calories. 195, you need less calories. 191, you need less calories. So you might lose this 0.81 pounds that first week. But your second week is probably going to be a little less than that. And then your third week, a little less than that. But still, just give me a break and just say, let's make it simple. That's why I have this word simple here. So at 200 pounds, it'll probably take around 12.3 weeks to lose 10 pounds. And then as you get closer to 190, to lose that exact same 10 pounds is going to take 15 weeks. And then at 180, 20 weeks. and then 170, 29 weeks. And this is where we're getting into the issue right here. 29 weeks, let's call it 30 weeks. And at 160, it's going to take 57 weeks. That's over a year just to lose 10 pounds. So when you're on 170 and you're trying to lose weight to get to 160, it's going to take somewhere between 29 and 58 weeks to lose that last 10 pounds. And that is because of physics and math. Nothing to do with your body going into starvation mode. Here's a little graph that shows it. At 200 pounds, it's going to be about 12 weeks or so in order to lose that 10 pounds. And you're going to have more and more and more and more weeks as your deficit gets less and less and less. You can see this last 10 pounds, the slope of this line is way steeper than when you first started off. It has nothing to do with water loss. It has nothing to do with your body going into preserving itself. It's just physics and math. And that's all I have for today.